Ever wonder what it's like to be a real-life supervillain? Well, let's talk about the guy who practically had a Don Corleone vault of mafia money, Matteo Messina Denaro. We're talking 1.3 billion euros in assets, a 30 million euro artificial island, and enough gold to make King Midas jealous. Denaro wasn't just a mafia boss, he was the boss, like if The Godfather and Pablo Escobar had a baby. Born into the mafia life in Sicily, he was shooting guns at 14 and taking lives by 18. By the time he hit adulthood, his resume included murder, extortion, criminal empire spanning multiple continents. Denaro didn't just run a few shady businesses, he practically owned Sicily. He controlled 20 mafia families and 900 loyal henchmen. This wasn't small-time gangster stuff. He had a monopoly on olive oil, like he was running an evil Whole Foods. But he wasn't just into food, he also got a slice of Italy's wind power industry, scamming millions from green energy grants. And while most of us struggle to afford rent, this guy was stacking up luxury villas, sand quarries, and supermarket chains like he was playing Monopoly in real life. Despite being on the world's most wanted list, Denaro played hide-and-seek with the cops for 30 years. His trick? Bribing officials and running a fake olive oil company to launder his millions. He was living the high life, fast cars, designer suits, Rolex watches, and more Versace than a Milan fashion show. But with great crime comes great paranoia. Denaro spent decades looking over his shoulder. Authorities slowly picked apart his empire, arresting his sister, loyal associates, and seizing his businesses. The king was losing his crown. Then, in January 2023, it all came crashing down. Denaro, now 61 and battling colon cancer, was arrested at a private clinic in Palermo, hiding under the name Andrea Bonafede. Imagine being one of the most feared mafia bosses ever, only to get caught at a doctor's appointment. Even in handcuffs, he had the audacity to say, "You only caught me because of my illness." Bro, that's like a video game boss blaming lag for losing. Prison wasn't kind to him, and in September 2023, Denaro died in a prison hospital, taking his secrets to the grave. Next up, meet Rafael Imperiale, aka the Van Gogh boss. Why the nickname? Because he used stolen Van Gogh paintings as collateral in drug deals. Talk about an art enthusiast with criminal intent. Born in Naples, Imperiale became one of the biggest cocaine traffickers in Europe. He wasn't just pushing grams, this guy was importing entire ships of Peruvian coke, running operations with gangster A-listers like Daniel Kinahan and Ridwan Taghi. Meanwhile, he was chilling in Dubai, living like an oil tycoon while the cops were hunting him down. Imperiale wasn't your typical thug, he had an expensive taste. He owned an artificial island in Dubai, because why settle for a penthouse when you can buy an island? He even called it his business card, as if handing out a number wasn't dramatic enough. His real estate empire included luxury villas with private beaches, infinity pools, and enough gold to make a Bond villain jealous. But in 2021, the party ended. He was arrested in Dubai and extradited to Italy in 2022. Plot twist. Instead of going full mafia, Imperiale pulled a 6999 and turned informant. Yep, the Van Gogh boss became the Van Snitch boss. He spilled the beans on money laundering, drug deals, and even admitted to using his island as a front. Italian authorities seized his assets, including his precious island. Maybe he should have invested in NFTs instead? Now, let's talk about Maria Licciardi, the godmother. You read that right. A female mafia boss who could go toe-to-toe with any of the big boys. She ran the Licciardi clan, expanded drug operations, and even got into human trafficking. She ignored the old mafia no prostitution rule and trafficked women from Albania like she was running a medieval market. Ruthless? Absolutely. But she also gave back to the poor, making her a mafia Robin Hood, if Robin Hood was a crime. Maria had a flair for the dramatic. Even when she was hiding, her safe houses looked like luxury hotels. We're talking marble floors, grand pianos, and jacuzzis. But the party didn't last forever. In 2001, after years on the run, she was finally caught near Naples. But she got out in 2009 and went right back to business. Seriously, some people just don't retire. In 2021, she was arrested at an airport in Rome while trying to fly to Spain. Was she vacationing or plotting another empire? We'll never know. Next, let's talk about Giuseppe Graviano, aka the Priest Killer. This guy was like a real-life Bond villain. Born into a mafia family, he ordered bombings, assassinations, and even had a priest murdered in broad daylight. Imagine being so evil that a priest looks you in the eye and says, "I've been expecting you." Cold-blooded. He also bombed cultural landmarks in Florence, Milan, and Rome. Basically, he was an art critic with explosives. Even behind bars, Graviano was playing 4D chess. He fathered children from prison by smuggling out his sperm, Yep, this guy ran a criminal empire and somehow still found time for family planning. Meanwhile, his sister Nuncia was handling the finances, investing in blue-chip stocks like the Mafia was running Wall Street. Graviano's legacy is alive and well, even if he's rotting in prison. Michel Zagaria, king of cement. No, he wasn't a Marvel villain, he literally made millions off construction contracts. He ran the Casalesi clan, rigged bidding wars for public projects, and secured government deals like a corrupt real estate mogul. Oh, and rumor has it he kept a pet tiger, because nothing says mafia boss like a personal jungle cat. After 16 years on the run, authorities finally found Zagaria in a secret bunker beneath his house. That's right, this guy was literally living underground like a Bond villain. When cops caught him, he just sighed and said, "You won. The state has won." Bro, that's the most dramatic surrender since Darth Vader threw Palpatine off a ledge. Pasquale Scotti, the Houdini of the Mafia. This guy didn't just escape from the law, he straight up disappeared like a magician. A top boss in the Nuova Camorra Organizzata, he was involved in killings, drug trafficking, and extortion. In 1983, he was finally arrested. Here's where it gets crazy. He faked an injury, got sent to a hospital, and then vanished into thin air on Christmas Eve. Yep, while people were unwrapping gifts, this guy was unwrapping his way out of handcuffs. 31 years, Scotti was a ghost. No one knew where he was, what he was doing, or if he was even alive. But in 2015, authorities finally tracked him down, living under a fake identity in Brazil. Married, with kids like he was just another suburban dad. Imagine being a most wanted mafia fugitive, but also showing up at PTA meeting. Once he was caught, Scotti was shipped back to Italy, where his life of hide-and-seek officially ended. And now, let's talk about Domenico Cefalù, the American connection. Unlike the other mafia bosses we've talked about, this guy wasn't in Italy, he was running things in New York. Cefalù became the boss of the Gambino crime family, taking over after John Gotti's era. While Gotti was flashy, Cefalù was all about keeping things low-key. No public appearances, no flashy suits, just straight business. Under Cefalù, the Gambino family went back to old-school mafia ways with less violence, more money-making. He expanded gambling, construction scams, and money laundering while avoiding the FBI's radar. But in 2019, things got messy. His successor, Francesco Calli, was mysteriously assassinated outside his Staten Island home. Some say it was mafia-related, others say it was just a random lunatic. Either way, the Gambino family has been in chaos ever since. Finally, let's talk about Salvatore Toto Riina, the OG godfather of the Sicilian Mafia. If there was a Mount Rushmore of mafia bosses, his face would be on it. Riina wasn't just ruthless, he was a full-blown warlord. His reign in the Corleone clan led to the bloodiest mafia wars in history. This guy ordered over 150 murders, including high-profile assassinations of judges, politicians, and even fellow mobsters. Riina thought he was untouchable, but in 1993, he was finally arrested after 24 years on the run. And when he went to prison, he showed zero remorse. Even behind bars, he continued to give orders, proving that his influence was bigger than the walls that held him. But in 2017, Riina finally met his match, which was death. At 87, he passed away in prison, marking the end of an era for the Sicilian Mafia. From billion-dollar empires to insane escapes, these bosses live like movie villains. But in the end, crime never really pays. Well, except for the book deals and Netflix adaptations. Want more Mafia deep dives? Let us know in the comments below and we'll keep the crime stories coming. Don't forget to subscribe by tapping the bell icon on your screen and give us a thumbs up.